Welcome to the Educational Leadership Podcast with Principal JL, the place where school leaders recharge, rethink, and remember their purpose. If you're a superintendent, assistant superintendent, a principal, assistant principal, dean of students, teacher leader, or a future administrator, you're in the right place. Here we mix practical strategies with real conversations, a little wit, and a whole lot of purpose. Because leadership isn't about the title on your badge, it's the influence you carry every single day with your teachers, staff, students, and families. Our mission is simple: to inform, inspire, and to help you lead with purpose. To give you tools that actually work, stories that spark reflection, and ideas you can use the minute an episode ends. So grab that caffeinated drink, a notebook, and your growth mindset, and get ready to level up your leadership one episode at a time. Because around here, we don't aim for perfect. We aim to be 1% better every single day. Now let's get to the episode. Let me ask you a hard question right out of the gate. If a student, parent, or community member followed you on social media, would what you post about education make them want to be an educator or run the other way? As a school leader, I spend a lot of time thinking about culture inside our building and beyond them. And what if the biggest threat to that culture isn't policy, it's not funding or mandates, but it's the way we talk about our own profession? Today, I'm going to spotlight a powerful book called Stop Eating Our Own by Robert Hinchliffe and Shawna Quenneville. This book challenges us to examine our own words, our posts, our conversations, and our tone, and to ask whether are we lifting up the profession we love, or are we slowly tearing it down from the inside? Now let's get to the episode.
This podcast is a proud member of the Teach Better Podcast Network. Better today, better tomorrow, and the podcast to get you there. Explore more podcasts at www.teachbetterpodcastnetwork.com. Now let's get back to the episode.
Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting episode of the Educational Leadership Podcast. Today, I am very passionate about this topic. Today, I'm going to spotlight a powerful book titled Stop Eating Our Own by Robert Hinchliffe and Shawna Quenneville. Now, I got this book, and the night I got it, I read it. I read it from front to back within 2 hours, and it just really hit me to the point where I really wanted to share what I learned from this book with everybody, because I really think this book is very powerful and what we need in education right now, because we need to stop eating our own, because we are sometimes our own worst enemy and we need to get out of our own way. So this book asks hard questions but necessary. Which side are you on? Are you lifting up the profession? Or are we slowly tearing it down from the inside? At the core of Stop Eating Our Own, it's about how we talk about education, especially in public spaces. The authors remind us that teaching is one of the most noble professions in the world, with a ripple effect that lasts generations. Most of us become educators because someone believed in us, they inspired us, or they made us feel seen in a classroom. And yet, you scroll social media, you listen to people in the hallway having conversations, you read comments under viral posts. Too often, the loudest voices about education are the negative ones, such as countdowns to summer, complaints about students, sarcasm about parents, frustrations aimed at colleagues or even administrators. And here's the hard truth the book confronts. When educators consistently speak negatively about their work, we shape the public's perception of our own profession, and it's not in a good way. One line from the introduction stopped me in my tracks. The future of educators are watching, and they are yearning for inspiration. So please give it to them. It's not just poetic language, it's a leadership warning. High school students are watching how we talk about teaching. College students are watching how we describe our careers. First-year teachers are watching how veterans respond when things get hard. The book makes this case clearly. If all we see is burnout, sarcasm, and public venting, why would they ever choose this profession? Robert and Shawna used the phrase eating our own to describe something many of us have seen and maybe participated in. Educators tearing down other educators online, staff members criticizing colleagues instead of supporting them, public posts that shame students, families, or schools. Negativity gets validated with likes, comments, and shares. The book doesn't deny that education is hard. It doesn't sugarcoat the challenges, but it does ask powerful questions. Are the words helping move the profession forward, or are they reinforcing the very problems we complain about? One of the strongest themes throughout the book is perspective. The authors contrast posts between like countdown days, dreaded Mondays, or jokes about escaping a classroom with posts that celebrate students, relationships, growth, and purpose. And here's the key leadership takeaway. Two educators can experience the same day. One can see burdens and the other sees opportunities. They both have the same reality, but they have different mindsets. And as leaders, formal or informal, our mindset is contagious. Negativity spreads fast, but so does hope. If you're a principal, assistant principal, instructional coach, or teacher leader, this book is a mirror. It asks us to reflect on questions like, how do we speak about our work when no one is making us? What culture are we modeling, especially online? Do our words invite people into the profession, or do they push them away? The book reminds us that leadership is not just what we do inside the building, it's about how we amplify outside of it. Stop eating our own isn't about being fake. It's not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about being responsible with our influence. The authors challenge us to share excellence, not frustrations. To celebrate colleagues instead of tearing them down. Address problems constructively, not publicly and destructively. Remember why we chose this work in the first place. Because if we don't believe in education, why should anybody else? I highly recommend this book, Stop Eating Our Own, for leadership teams, book studies, department discussions, reflections with veteran and early career educators. It's bold, it's honest, and it's deeply pro-education. Let's be leaders who protect the profession, elevate the narrative, and model what it looks like to love the work, even when it's hard. Because the future of education is watching. And the best recruiters of education are educators doing the work and sharing all the amazing work we do every day. So this is my challenge to you. Can you be the change? Don't be the one talking negatively about education, but be the change and talk about the positives, because no one is going to do it for us. Do you accept this challenge to stop eating our own and to be the change? I hope you do. If this episode resonates with you, please share it with an educator that needs to hear it. Please subscribe to this podcast and leave a review so we can reach other extraordinary educators like you. And remember to be curious, 1% better, and to be the change for education, the greatest profession in the world. Thank you for sticking around to the very end of this episode. I hope this podcast brings value to you as an educational leader. I would invite you to share this podcast with other educational leaders, or maybe that inspiring teacher who would like to be an educational leader someday. I would also invite you to subscribe and to follow this podcast so you can get the most recent updated episodes when they drop. I would also love it if you leave a review and rate this podcast 5 stars, because that would make this podcast more discoverable to other educators like yourself. You can also follow me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, X, Threads, and Substack. All you need to do is look for Principal J.O., and boom, there I am. This is where we can continue the conversations from the episodes that you have enjoyed. I am so thankful for you guys for listening. Until next time, always be 1% better.